I had been sitting at the Chaudhry's camp for I don't know how long with my wife. It was impossible for me to sit in this pain, but I had to sit. I had been going around the Chaudhry's camp for several days and was asking for help from the Chaudhry, saying that I had a kidney problem. He thought it was charity, but I was not being listened to. Today, my wife said that I myself would go to Chaudhry Sahib with you and ask for help. I will throw my cloak at his feet. If he has the courage, he will help us. My wife loved me very much, so she did not want to lose me. She was ready to go to any extent to save my life, and both my kidneys were about to fail, and I needed kidney treatment, and for that, I needed a lot of money. My wife was going everywhere as a beggar. She wanted to go as far as she could to save my life. We were newly married, and our marriage had not been long, almost not even a year. It was a love marriage, and suddenly, I had a kidney problem. My wife always had henna on her beautiful hands. She used to say that if I did nothing, I would always be a beautiful woman, God willing. Hearing this from my wife, tears would come to my eyes. That poor woman loved me so much, and I became ill from nature and could not even make her happy. With great difficulty, we had forgotten each other. My wife, holding her chadar, went with me to Chaudhry Sahib's room. Chaudhry Sahib was sitting in the room where he had his sitting room, and his special guests used to come there. Seeing us, he made a strange face and then said, "Tell me, what is your complaint?" The people of the village often came to Chaudhry Sahib with complaints. I said, "Chaudhry Sahib, I have no complaints. I had been living here for a long time, but today my wife has brought me here. She wants to talk to you." When I said this, I pointed to my wife. Tears welled up in my wife's eyes. She was wearing a veil, only her eyes were visible. Her beauty could be seen in her eyes. Chaudhry Sahib was lost in my wife's tears. He said, "Girl, what's the matter? Why are you crying so much? Stop crying and explain your problem." My wife controlled herself with great difficulty and took off her body and head and placed it at Chaudhry Sahib's feet. Her complete beauty was revealed in front of Chaudhry Sahib. She said, "Sir, I am not asking you for anything. I am begging for my husband's life. We have not even been married for a year and he has developed kidney disease. We need money for his treatment. I think I have come to you as a beggar. I am a very self-reliant girl and have never extended my hand to anyone. But my husband's love has forced me to extend my hand. My husband has been coming before, but he did not get any help. So I told him that I will go and put my chadar at the feet of Chaudhry Sahib myself. Surely Chaudhry Sahib will have mercy. Please help my husband in the matter of treatment. I am ready to give you whatever he needs. I am also ready to work in your mansion without salary for the rest of my life. Just help my husband. This poor man is also very self-reliant. Till now he has earned and eaten by himself and fed me, but from nature he has contracted such an illness that now he is not even able to get out of bed. Even here I have brought him with great difficulty. I was not able to sit with this poor man, but the poor are forced to do every work that is very difficult for them. My wife was sobbing and begging Chaudhry Sahib with folded hands, and Chaudhry Sahib was lost in her beauty, so he was not saying anything to him. My wife was really very beautiful. She was not from this village. I had married her from another village, and she was a little bit skinny and looked the most outstanding and unique. Her beauty was such that even in poverty, she looked like a Chaudhry's moon, like a rose flower. After thinking a lot, Chaudhry Sahib said, "Okay, I will arrange for your husband's treatment. I have a friend who is a doctor. He only works on kidneys. I will send you to him. Yes, your mufti will treat you. You don't need to worry. You both have come to me with so much hope. I will not send you both back disappointed. I still have humanity left in me." After listening to Chaudhry Sahib, we both were happy and we thanked him. My wife just started praying for him. He was happy and said that my job is to help the poor. When a girl comes to me with so much hope, it is my duty to keep her word. I am not so hard-hearted. I know how to respect women very well, and when a woman has placed her veil at my feet, I am also very proud, Chaudhry. Saying this, Chaudhry Sahib lifted my wife's veil and threw it over her head. He placed his hand on her shoulder and consoled her. If there was another time, I might not have been able to bear it, but I was in such a state of pain and suffering that I did not understand anything. I just wanted to be relieved from this pain. The pain had also put my self-control to sleep. My wife was begging a man for money, and I was completely helpless in this matter. I wanted my wife to be heard quickly, and when she was heard, I felt relieved. I just wanted to be relieved from this pain. We both returned home happily, and my wife was very happy and was praying for Chaudhry Sahib. The next day, Chaudhry Sahib himself came to our house in his car and said that I will take you both to the hospital myself. We were surprised to see his generosity. We had heard that he was a very strict Chaudhry, but he was very good at telling the truth. He took us in his car to a very big clinic which belonged to his friend, the doctor. Chaudhry Sahib said that he had already spoken to the doctor on the phone. Now my treatment will begin. Hearing this, we felt a little relieved. My wife had brought her clothes and some belongings with her in case we had to stay in the hospital. It was good that she had brought the belongings. We had to stay now. The doctor said that it was a small operation. He would operate on me. There were stones and some other bacteria in my kidney which they would remove and everything would be fine and I would be able to live a completely healthy life. The next day I had my operation and my wife was praying a lot for me and Chaudhry Sahib was making rounds again and again and we were getting a lot of encouragement seeing Chaudhry Sahib. We said that they will not take money from us, right? Chaudhry Sahib said that no, they will not take a single rupee from you. Even our food and drink were free in this clinic. My operation was done and I was still semi-conscious. I saw that I was not able to move my torso, so the doctor said that he was still drugged and my torso will not regain consciousness yet. The whole day passed in the hospital. The next day also passed in the hospital, but there was no movement in my torso. I said that my torso was still lifeless. The doctor said that there was no problem. Actually, I have given a high dose of drugs. Your torso will remain lifeless for a week. Now you can go home. We came home and my wife made my bed and made me lie down on the cot. She sat next to me, and Iftar was waiting for me, but my torso had not come to life. My torso was still lifeless. When Chaudhry Sahib came to meet me, my wife said that Chaudhry Sahib, the doctor, performed an operation without knowing it. His torso is still lifeless. We are very worried. It has been more than a week, but there is no life left in his torso. Chaudhry Sahib called the doctor. After examining me, the doctor said that there was some problem due to which his torso would not remain in place for the rest of his life. Hearing this, my wife and I were devastated. I, who had gone to get better, was sitting there witnessing half my existence. Now my wife and I were sad and worried all the time. My wife kept looking at me. We did not know anything. My wife said that we should file a case against this doctor. He has disabled you for the rest of your life. I said, who will file a case? I am bedridden and you are a woman. Why are you going to the courthouses? My wife said that I will go to Chaudhry Sahib. I tell him to talk to my doctor friend. In the meantime, Chaudhry Sahib entered our house and my wife said that Chaudhry Sahib, your doctor friend, has treated my husband wrongly. Due to which he has become ill, why don't you do something? Chaudhry Sahib said that, come with me to the room, I tell you. My wife went into the room with him. After that, I was shocked when I heard the sound of the room being closed. Then I was shocked when I heard my wife screaming. Chaudhry was definitely doing something wrong to my wife and I was lying completely helpless. My heart was beating fast and I could not help her. My mobile was also lying far away so that I could call someone for help. I should have called the neighbors, but no one could hear me because our house was a little far from others. The houses in the neighborhood were a little far away where my voice could not reach easily. 2 of Chaudhry's employees were standing outside. They came inside and told me that there was no use in shouting. Stay quiet. Then Chaudhry was abusing my wife all night. And I kept crying. I had nothing in my hand. In the morning, Chaudhry left there and my wife came to me in a state of exhaustion and started crying. She said that Chaudhry had threatened me that if I opened my mouth in front of the villagers, he would kill you. My wife kept quiet to save my life and she was trying to leave this village. That somehow we, husband and wife, could get out of here at night, but I couldn't even walk. That was the whole problem. If I had life in my legs, this injustice wouldn't have happened to us, but I was lying completely lifeless. Now it had become a daily routine. Every night, Chaudhry would come to my house with his servants. He would lock my wife in the room and oppress her the whole night, and I would remain a silent spectator on the cot. After that, Chaudhry's servants came and told my wife that Chaudhry Sahib has called you to the camp. If you refuse, they will kill your husband right here. I told my wife to let me die, don't go there, but once again that poor woman went to Chaudhry's camp to save my life. This series went on. Now Chaudhry did not come here. He would just send a car at night and my wife would sit in the car and go to him. I was wondering where life had brought us. It was 2 years ago when I went to my wife's village. It was a coincidence that my eyes fell on her and I fell in love with her, and we both fell in love at first sight. My wife's name was Nouri, and I sent a marriage proposal to Nouri's house, and her family quickly accepted the marriage, and we both got married very happily, and we swore to live and die together. Sometimes I used to realize how easily I had found my love, but today I realized very well that all this was supposed to happen to me after marriage, when I had got my wife so easily. We had only been married for 8 months, and this doomsday had fallen on me. My body was completely lifeless. My wife used to go to the victim of cruelty every night, and my heart cried tears of blood. I was not at all the protector of my wife. I had started to hate my own existence. That Chaudhry was so cruel to my wife in front of me. He used to scratch her. He used to tear her honor apart, and I could not do anything. Today, Chaudhry had called my wife to the camp. My heart wanted me to end myself. This moment was very painful for me. Before leaving, my wife looked at me with teary eyes. I lowered my eyes with embarrassed eyes, but today I felt something strange. There was something different in her eyes, as if something was going to go wrong. When she started to leave, I gestured to her. She came to me and I told her to bend down and whispered to her ear, "Don't do anything wrong. Take care of yourself." She had left without saying anything, while I was still staring at her until her back disappeared from my sight. In the dead of night, my wife entered the house in a panic. I did not sleep until my wife returned home, but the air that was blowing on her face today made me fear something else. What I was feeling was that something was going to go wrong today, it seemed, had already happened. My wife opened the door and brought a trolley in. I was looking at my wife with surprised eyes, wondering what she wanted to do. I asked my wife what had happened that made her bring the trolley inside and why her face was puffy. Everything was fine. But without saying anything, she started shifting me onto the trolley as quickly as possible. This process was very difficult for her, but she wanted to shift me onto this trolley at any cost, and after a lot of tireless work, she shifted me onto this trolley. As soon as he took hold of the trolley, he started running outside, dragging me. I was asking him what had happened to his wife that made her so upset and where was she taking me. He suddenly told me as we were walking, "I have killed Chaudhry." When he tried to force himself on me, I got so angry that I could not control myself, and with the dagger lying next to me, I slashed his chest. My heart screamed with joy. It felt as if someone had breathed life into my lifeless body. I was feeling very happy, but now I was even more worried because my wife had fallen for the wrong person. Chaudhry's family was very dangerous. His circle of friends would have killed us if we had fallen into their hands. I asked my wife which way we were going now, and she said, "We are going towards the city because the city is quite big, and we will not fall into the hands of those people. We will go there and get you treated and cured. We will never go back to that place again." My wife was getting emotional right now, and her brain had completely stopped working, but I was still thinking and understanding, and I was thinking that we would reach the city limits in a short time because at the speed my wife was walking, it would not take us long. But I did not understand which way we would go in the city because no one lived in the city, but I suddenly remembered that one of my cousins lives there. I told my wife that I am taking you to a place where my relatives live. My wife was dragging the trolley at a fast pace without saying a word. When we got a little inside the city limits, my wife stopped and started breathing. She was more than tired. We stayed there for a while. After that, we started riding again. We both knew that by now, everyone in the village must have known that Chaudhry had been murdered and that my wife, the murderer, had fled from there. After a while, we rode towards my cousin's house, and a few hours later, we reached her door. But before we could knock on the door, Chaudhry's people had caught us and forcibly brought us back to the village. This act was very scary for me. My wife was also very scared. We were a step away from our destination, but before that, our enemies had reached there. Those cruel people had forcibly brought me and my wife inside the village and tied us to a tree in the middle of the village. Chaudhry's father was sitting in the panchayat with angry eyes. Everyone was looking at us with angry eyes, because no matter what Chaudhry was, he was useful to the people here and there. That's why people believed him a lot, gave him things. Everyone was looking at me and my wife with hate. His father ordered that both the husband and wife be stoned. They had killed our Chaudhry son, but before they could bury us, my wife screamed loudly that Chaudhry was very cruel to me. This man had taken advantage of my helplessness. He invited me to his camp only because if I told you guys anything, he would kill my husband. And I couldn't bear to see my husband killed. The people who were carrying stones to pelt us all became statues of astonishment, listening to my wife's words. She continued, "This man had promised us that he would get my husband treated and donate a new kidney to him, but this man did such a great injustice to us that he rendered my husband's entire body lifeless from the bottom up. My husband lost the ability to walk, and taking advantage of this, that Chaudhry used to commit adultery with me. I protected myself a lot, but being a woman, I could not resist this man and lost courage. But yesterday, when he once again started coming close to me and tried to commit adultery with me, my heart almost burst. I felt my husband's helplessness and loss of self-respect very strongly. In anger, I slashed his chest with a dagger lying nearby. But I ask all of you that if any woman in our village does not recover, is she not safe?" Everyone said in unison, "You people should have told us. We will not let you be humiliated like this at the hands of this Chaudhry. Now you people do not need to worry. Now we will protect you ourselves, but we will also get your husband treated." A kind-hearted man came to me and my wife and started to untie our hands and feet. I was lifeless and lying on the ground. The men of the village supported me and made me sit on a cot. Looking at the father of this Chaudhry, he said, "Chaudhry Sahib, you are very respectable to us, but what your son has done to the woman of our village is unbearable. It is better for you to disappear from here, and we will not need to read you in the future." While Chaudhry was worried about how his throne was overthrown, our villagers got me treated together and took very good care of my wife. In a few days, I started recovering due to good treatment and was even able to walk a little. If my wife had not had the courage that day, today too, we would have been destroying our self-respect at the hands of this Chaudhry. Today, I think about how there are people who take advantage of the compulsion of the poor in various ways and trample on their dignity. And while doing all this, they have no fear of God. Whoever gets the throne, he sits as a king and starts considering everyone to be inferior in front of him. That is why the virtue of a just king is very high in Islam, and his status is also very high, and our Lord has commanded us to respect a just king. Allah Almighty gives these people the rule of the earth and gives them a great opportunity to do justice and in return get Allah's paradise or go to hell. But many people, when they become rulers or are in such a position that they can do something good for the poor but still do not do it and take advantage of their compulsion, then they should fear Allah. The Chaudhry's throne was temporary and was overthrown. If the Chaudhry had been fair to everyone and had not put us in this situation, which caused us and my wife's honor to be violated, and had helped us with all our hearts as we had initially understood, then he would have certainly achieved success in both this world and the hereafter. But such people, after coming to power, buy the wrath of God for a small sum of money. Such people are humiliated in this world and are also a reason in the hereafter. The Chaudhry will be humiliated in this world and in the hereafter, and Allah has helped us. We have seen difficult times, but this world is mortal. Thinking this, I try to call you to me.